Hello again. I spoke earlier today about the fact that even the most moderate opposition to either immigration or the sexualisation of children is now denounced as being part of a far-right conspiracy. This is because there is an enormous gulf between what left-wing and progressive types take for granted and the way that ordinary people think and feel. I've mentioned this book before. It's Rennie Eddo-Lodge's Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. I think I might do another video about this soon, but still, it is the Sunday Times bestseller and it's described by the Observer as, where are we now? A wake-up call to a nation in denial. The Guardian says it's politically uncompromising. Searing, says the Independent. Devastating. So, hot stuff indeed, according to the correct type of newspapers. I want to read just a paragraph from it to illustrate my point that there is a vast difference between the way that we, the people, think and the perspective of those who are on the front line of the anti-racist movement. Let's see now. It seemed borderline paranoid when UKIP's Nigel Farage expressed a nervousness at hearing fellow passengers speak different languages in his train carriage. In a 2014 speech, he said, "The fact is that in scores of our cities and market towns, this country, in a short space of time, has frankly become unrecognisable. Whether it is the impact on local schools and hospitals, whether it is the fact that in many parts of England you don't hear English spoken anymore. This is not the kind of community we want to leave to our children and grandchildren." I love this. It is borderline paranoid. In other words, verging on a symptom of mental illness to notice and remark upon the fact that in many places one no longer hears the language of one's country being spoken. By the way, Nigel Farage did not say that he was nervous at all. That was sheer invention by this dreadful woman that wrote the book. What he actually said in 2014 was, "It was rush hour from Charing Cross. It was the stopper going out. We stopped at London Bridge, New Cross, Hither Green. It wasn't until after we got past Grove Park that I could actually hear English being audibly spoken in their carriage. Does that make me feel slightly awkward? Yes. I wonder what's really going on. I'm sure that that's a view that will be reflected by 3/4 of the population, perhaps even more." Hand on heart, does anybody really think that this sounds like a nervous man who is suffering from paranoia? I give a link in the description to this video to the newspaper article reporting this. Reading through it, I saw something which gave me pause for thought. This was the following statement by the journalist writing about it all. "Immigration figures this week showed a large increase in net migration to 212,000 last year, most of it from debt-stricken southern Europe." A large increase in net migration to 212,000 in a year. We should be so lucky as to have such a large increase these days. Would anybody care to guess what the figure was for net migration to this country in the year ending June 2022? In the description to this video, I give the figures for migration as provided by the Office for National Statistics, which is a government agency. After some guff about COVID and Ukraine and how this accounts for increase in the numbers coming here and it's atypical and so on, we are told, and I quote, "These have all contributed towards relatively high levels of total long-term immigration at an estimated 1.1 million in the year to June 2022. Over 1 million immigrants arrived in the course of a year to settle in Britain. This is almost double the number who arrived the previous year. It's also 5 times as many as was causing concern in 2014. This really is classic boiling frog stuff, of course. In 2014, we were talking about a large increase of immigrants to 212,000 in the year, and this was at the time that UKIP was riding high on such large numbers. Now, less than a decade later, net immigration is running at 5 times that figure. Does anybody think that in another 10 years this figure will have gone up or down? Does anybody think that it is racist or xenophobic or symptomatic of belonging to the far right that attention should be drawn to such a state of affairs?